So think about this just for a second before we start. Think about why you're here. I want to know why you're here. I want you to ask yourself the question, what is it you want? And then how do you know you will have achieved that by the time you leave here at the end of the week? Measurable goals. All right, so before we begin, I just want to plant that in your mind because it's going to be important. I'm very chameleon-like with the crowds. If you've ever heard me talk before, I'm not going to cookie cut anything. I can talk about pretty much everything. I've been on the whole spectrum from fat, white, freckle-faced kid with the bald haircut, missing teeth, all the way up to my present evolution. So I need to know what you guys want to know so I can really gear the seminar towards you instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to teach you this. You may not want this. I'm very adaptable. So just think about that before we begin. Well, welcome. What we're going to do is we're going to be talking about whatever the hell you guys want to talk about. I'm very open-minded and I'm very liberal in my thoughts and my actions. So like I said, what I asked you the question earlier is I want to know, why you guys here. It doesn't need to be hands up, just kind of throw some ideas out so I can start to formulate a way of the compass of where this whole conversation lecture is going to go. So just kind of throw some things out so I can start mapping in my mind where it is we're going to take this.
Persuasion.
Okay, persuasion in
essentially getting people to do what we want them to do.
Or what's going to be beneficially best for both.
Sure. Okay,
I don't come from a manipulative background. My theory and my belief is if you're doing something on a win-lose, you're fucking yourself. I believe 100% in abundance. How that goes, I can teach shit that's about manipulation, about taking advantage of people. Not my style, but you have to understand, first and foremost, you can't not influence a person, okay? So once you decide what you're about, the direction to who you are, what your boundaries are, what you want to see in the world, then you can really start to gild yourself and create yourself of what is your message. Like what is the purpose when you do influence? Like I said, you can't not influence. So when you're in a person's presence, what is the vision? What is the mission statement? What is it you're about? So that you can create the biggest impact. And I absolutely believe that when you're in those key situations, intimate situations, your job is to give an impact moment where you make an impact on that person. You're just going to be floating through life and be like, oh, hey, nice to meet you, or stuff like this, and there's no interaction? Or do you have a mission? Do you have a goal? Do you have what it is you're about of making an impact on a person? Getting into their mind and saying, hey, you know what, rise up. You're better than that. And so when we're talking about influence, there's lots of different ways to influence. So do you have any specific ways you personally would like to learn about how to influence?
Nothing's coming to mind right now.
Okay. Well, think about that. And when it does come, I just say, this is what I'm talking about. Because there's sexual influence, there's social influence, there's simple influence as far as getting nonverbal from someone. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm going to talk right off the cuff of my head. So when things come to my mind, I'm going to tell you. There are simple influences like this. I remember one time when I was really young, this is like in the early phases of doing all this stuff, I was trying to figure out, okay, I was doing all the little lines and all the little gimmicks and all the little things like this, because back then that's what I thought it was about. I remember sitting there talking to this girl, and I was just like, man, nothing's working. And so I simply just asked her a question. I basically said, hey, think of someone you like. She went, boom, like that. And I said, think of someone you don't like, boom. And guess where I was standing? I was standing over here. In that direction, the way she subjectively organizes her experience. And all I did is move from there to over here, and she lit up and she attacked me. Okay? So there's all kinds of things you can do when you understand. So the best thing is really to leverage yourself. Stand up for a second. And I want you to face the crowd. All right? And I want you guys to pay attention. And since they already know about it, they may be a little bit more conscious of it. But think of someone you like. Boom. Think of someone you like. Think of someone you like. Okay. Think of someone you don't like. Okay. So it could be a simple question like that where you get the information. Now, if I'm over here and I'm talking to a person and I'm in that filter of where the person sorts people they don't like, they're not going to get that internal click. Okay, so like I said, when they're aware of it, they'll know it. But if you want any more, let's go, hey, think of someone you fucking just love. And you like this. Well, in your mind, you might want to go sit in that area. Okay, so like I said, we're going to talk, this is kind of how I do things. I'm going to just throw things out. Thank you. So if you're talking about influencing stuff like that, you can do everything you want, but if you're in the wrong structured pattern of the way they sort their world, you may not be able to do anything, no matter how good you are. And so that's one level of influence. The next level of influence is, do you feel influential? Is it your right to communicate, to move a person to where you think would be beneficial for both? And so who do you have to become in order to generate that self-fulfilling prophecy, not only to yourself, but to the other person, to be that powerful, to influence in a very strong, powerful way? Do you give yourself the permission to be that powerful person who consciously can influence? Because when you get to the point where you consciously can influence, You know, for the most part, unless you're someone like Hitler or some of these crazy fucks, you're going to get to the point where you can understand that you can actually move people powerfully. And it really comes back to the golden rule, and you understand that and see how it comes back to, okay, yeah, I can get this, but is it really best for the person? So first of all, like, what does influencing mean to you?
To me, it means, well, for one, providing a space in which people feel comfortable.
Okay.
And then...
why not think about it like this? Why not make people feel uncomfortable? Everyone feels comfortable. Hey, how you doing? Everyone's so fucking conforming, okay? So part of it is bringing a person out of the comfortableness that they're in. Because in order to survive and thrive in this world, you have to feel uncomfortable most of the time, okay? And I'm not saying uncomfortable like, oh, I don't belong here. No, uncomfortable like pushing yourself, putting yourself in situations that you're not yet used to, okay? Situations that are gonna make you grow, situations that are gonna evolve yourself so you don't fall into the mediocrity of the mundane, which most people are. Most people around here are just fucking moping through life, barely getting by, distracting themselves with everything from seminars to anything like, oh, okay, but they're not really putting that emphasis or that effort out there to make a difference.
How do you find the right balance between pushing yourself and giving yourself a break?
Well, from years and years of experience, I find it, and I still go off. Like, I mean, just last year I was experimenting with health. I went 1 month, smoked, drank, did coffee, partied, okay? Didn't work out how I felt. Next month, fucking switched up to live food, doing like this, and going back and forth. And then you find your own balance to where things are at. And you do not find this balance unless you're experimental, for the most part, unless you're willing to really step out of the bounds and go beyond what you're used to. And a lot of times, like, I don't have the balance. Like, it's walking on just a thread, because you're always off. If you're eating super clean your diet, then you may lose a little bit of balance with having fun. So it's a process of finding out what's right for you. There's things like, you know, we all bullshit ourselves to a degree. So, you know, I eat super clean now and things like this. I'm really about the environment and stuff like this, but I'll get on a plane and fly over here, okay? So you gotta know what your own bullshit level is what you're willing to do and where you feel comfortable with. As far as things like this, you know, do I wear, I don't think I wear anything leather, but even down to shoes, you know, would you wear leather shoes if you're about, you know, animal rights and things like this? So it really comes down to when you understand, okay, what it is you're about. And I like to say this to guys. I say, hey, imagine like you're the mayor of your own town. What would you put up with? What would you put up with? What would you not put up with? If someone was an asshole to someone else, would you go, hey, you know what, you gotta leave my city? If someone talked down to you, would you take that? What are your own boundaries? What do you want? What do you want for other people? If you don't want to know what you want for yourself and what you're willing to put up with, what you're not willing to put up with, then anything can do. Because you're always gonna be, you know, if someone steps over my boundaries, I'll just go, hey, I don't like that. And it's a very matter of fact. Get used to being uncomfortable most of the time. If you're going to rise above what most people are. And most people are nothing. Most people, like I said, are just like blah, 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 blah. This is life, okay? And it's so much more than that. Especially when you, like I said, and I could talk about seduction, all this kind of stuff, sex, all this stuff, but I think I was gonna gear a lot of my talk today is about just your good old-fashioned health, okay? Because this is the foundation of who you are. One of the reasons why, I mean, I'm a full raw vegan. I, for the most part, eat live food only, and I take care of myself. So that paradigm of, you know, you can be a vegan and not look healthy and be healthy is completely bullshit, right? So if you're feeling shitty about who you are, and you're eating meat, and you're eating cheese, and you're eating all these fucked up foods, dead foods, and sodas, and energy drinks, your energy's gonna be like this all over the fucking place. Okay. When you eat meat, your blood becomes acidic. Also, you know, if they measured on the Krillian scale, if you actually watch, you know, electricity and the electromagnetics, you can see that it sucks energy in. So the bottom line that really it makes the difference is your baseline, and you get to go first. And if you don't feel good, you're not going to fucking attract a goddamn person. Simple as that. You know, you got to feel good. You got to be that person to bring the spark. So many people are out there that are just dead. Well, I call them walking zombies. They're all over here. You know, there's a couple in here in this room, all right? The point is, you gotta feel good. Get up. Like, how many guys exercise on a daily basis? Okay?
Sorry, I missed the question.
Huh?
I missed the question.
How many people exercise on a daily basis? Okay, let me tell you, okay, through 150,000 years, or however long it is that we've been here, okay, our bodies are absolutely 100% made to work. It was only 5 generations ago, which the first time most people stopped exercising. Okay, and if you want to know the history of how it worked, 100 years ago, most of us, either 100, 200 years ago, nomads or farmers, pretty much. We're out there fucking hoeing and we're getting exercise, and that's what our body is conditioned to do. We ate off the land, we were organic, that was in tune with nature. All of a sudden the Industrial Revolution comes around, and next thing you know, they go up to these farmers and say, hey, you know what, we have these factories over here, how much are you making here a year? $250 a year? Tell you what, we're gonna pay you $500 a year if you come into this small town, which was Levittown. We're gonna put you in these little flats, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna go like this all day long. first time in history which disconnected people not only from the earth, from nature, but also from family and exercise. And so what happened after that? Look at our society. Look at how everyone's fucking sick. Kids are 10 years old getting diabetes. If you're not looking at this is not working and you're gonna just buy into the system and be a fucking clone about I need to drink Coke is what it is and this Red Bull's gonna make me stuff like this, you need to check yourself because cancer's coming. 1 in 2 people will have cancer. They will die of cancer. Okay, so if you don't take responsibility for your health and what it really means, that's why I did those experiments with this shit. I know what it feels like to feel shitty. You don't feel like getting up. Your mind shortcuts things. You don't do things properly because you have a certain amount of energy, and your energy is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shortcut this and do it half-ass. And that's what they think. I don't know if I'm going to go up to that girl. Because you know what? You don't feel good. When you have an abundance of energy, when you're overflowing, when you feel good, you can walk up to anyone because you're giving them energy. Because most people, when you meet in life, don't have energy. So when you walk up to them and you're feeling good and you brighten their day and you're smiling and you're putting off that vibe and that auric field, they like that. That's what women like. Women like fun. They like a friendly, cool kind of demeanor. If you're just kind of moping around like, oh, I don't know, I just ate that big meal and kind of blah, blah, but man, I really want to get laid and I need to learn this pattern because it's going to make a difference. It's not going to work. You got to really think right back to the basics of what are you about? Are you going to revere yourself? Are you going to respect yourself and start eating healthy and start really looking at yourself and your diet and things like this? Because that's the base of who you are. Without that, you're just kind of walking through and you're either alive or you're walking dead. And the walking dead don't really get laid that often from what I've seen. The people that get laid, that have intimate relationships, that have any kind of relationship lifestyle they want, for the most part, 90% are outgoing, they're doing stuff, and they're active. If you're gonna sit around and not be active, or any of that, then you're not gonna get it. And I would say stop bullshitting yourself. Stop using these seminars and shit like this as a distraction and say, hey, you know what, are you worth it? Do you love you enough to put the best materials in? Do you love you enough to be able to say, hey, you know what, I can inspire a person, I can bring up a person's life, I can enjoy whatever I want, no matter where I go. So, I don't know, I kind of went on a tangent, but that's what I do. So these are things to look at, man. And like I said, I've been down both fields. It's night and day, night and day. When you feel good, you don't need alcohol, you don't need drugs, you don't need anything. And trust me, I've done plenty of drugs, all right? So I can tell from things.
How do you find what your passion can be? Because I'm in a state where I don't know what I want.
Tell you what, I don't think you find it. I think it kind of finds you. But you have to move in the direction like a compass. You're never really going to know. Did I know that I like doing this stuff? No. My whole life, so I can't say I woke up one day and I had this, big idea like, oh, I want to be a speaker or a doctor. Like, it happens to a select few. Guys come out there, I'm going to study and be a doctor, and they got it going on. For the most part, I don't think a lot of people do. But what I think is useful is you put yourself in situations or you study stuff that you love to do. For me, I went to to a strip club. I mean, that's where I first learned. I was like, I suck at women. I don't know how to interact with women. I put myself there because it was going to force me to learn about women and get better in that situation. You can't not get better around there or you're going to get your ass eaten up. So, I went from there. From there, I learned the techniques, of what I've developed over the years, and that kind of got me into talking at little gigs like this way back in the beginning. Then from there, I started kind of studying some other stuff, and everything just kind of got me to the point where I'm at now. So, like I said, if you use that as a compass of what is it you love to do, and you kind of focus on that and you get good at it, what happens is you start to make your own creations. Like what I do, there's nothing out there that says you're going to be this. There's no label for it. And there's no label, especially for things that are out there this day and age. There's plenty of opportunities out there. So a lot of it comes down to hey, you know what? Stay focused on what you love to do because then you're going to do it. You're going to do it more. And you know what? I've worked 3 different jobs. I mean, even now, just think about the pirating. I had $1.4 million of my shit illegally downloaded last year. Okay, you know how much money I made out of it? 20 grand. Okay, so, but I still love it, and I do it no matter what. So when I have that and I'm focused on it, I still do it, and I still go out there and experiment, I still go out and create stuff, you got to do it from that love point of view. It's not about the money, it's about, hey, what can you do for 8 hours a day, and it doesn't seem like work. Like I said, success isn't like, all of a sudden being, the richest guy in the world. I run strip clubs, I see the guys that are rich as fuck, and they're miserable. Okay, I've seen the guy who loves himself, who takes care of himself, who respects himself, who reveres himself for what he is, and the lineage, really being honorable to the lineage of which he came from. Because if you think about who you are right now, think about how many generations it took for you to get here. Think about your ancestry. All the people that had to fight through fucking wars, famines, droughts, where they came from, probably poverty. They fought through that, and their genes survived and thrived and got to this point, which is the sum total of you. So what are you going to do with that? You're just going to be like, thanks, ancestors, cool, give me the gift. I'm not going to give anything back. No one else will be a better you than you. No one will ever be better than you at anything because it's you. And you got to respect that. You got to understand that. And you got to know that you have qualities that I don't have. You know, I'm horrible with paperwork. Fucking terrible. Terrible. I'm good at certain things. Okay, there's people that are better at music. There's people that are everything. Everyone has something that is superior to someone else. There is no better than. Okay, it's just a matter of what are your strengths and are you going to focus on it? And you have a choice. What are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on your strengths and go after what you're good at? Or are you going to focus on your weaknesses and focus on what's wrong with you? Just that base question of, you know, oh, fuck, what's wrong with me? Or I'm not doing this. It's focusing on the negative. You know, what can you stop? Like, how many people here, if I said, what are your top 5 characteristics about yourself? How many people can do that right off the cuff? They just know it. How many people can really understand what are your strengths? What do you bring to the table? How many people experiment enough and get curious enough about what other people say? Just ask your best friends and go, what do you think my best traits are? And find out. And then from there, you maybe get a good understanding about, you know what, maybe this is more what I'm better at. Listen, you think I was happy I drove a bus for a while, you know, I bounced fucking private parties, which wasn't bad, but it wasn't the safest situation. But all that went into buying my equipment so I could do audio recordings. So as long as you have a balance, like say you're making good money, cool, make good money. But are you putting it towards something that you may, you know, educating yourself and putting it towards something that you really may one day create something out of that? So you use it as a stepping stool. If you just say, this is what I do, this is who I am, then you're stuck in that paradigm and you're stuck in that label. So, you know, like I said, use that. Think about, like, what is something you enjoy doing? Like, what's something, if you didn't have to work, you would still do it if you didn't get paid. If you can counterbalance that and spend the next, you know, 4 hours at other times doing stuff you do like, it'll balance out. If you're investing, you're like, hey, I'm making a lot of money, and you know that this is just a stepping stone until you do investing so you can get out of it, and you make money and you invest it and you're starting to make passive income off of something, cool, do that. You have that opportunity, which is a good thing. Like I said, life just doesn't go, here you go. You know, you're a star, now plug it right into that star and it's gonna fit. It almost hardly ever fits. And most people, like I said, are so afraid of failing that they don't do anything. That to me is the worst. If you're afraid to fail, like if you're afraid to get rejected or anything of that shit, like that's a part of the game. That's a part of the process. So you better get real good at it and real good at saying next. Next, carry on. What are you about? Because like I said, it would be asinine to tell a baby the first time he tries to get up and he fell, like, oh, you fucked up, you're a loser. You know, think about that. Think about what's already built into you to get to the point where you already are now. When you were a baby, how many times did you fucking fall when you were walking? A lot, right? Okay, if you had that same mentality, like baby mentality, all right, about going out and meeting people, do you think that would be a little bit better? And there is no rejection. When you think about rejection, this is what I tell people. I go, okay, why would you go up to a complete stranger who doesn't even know you? Even if you lived with the person for 6 months, they still don't really know you, so they can't really completely reject you. All they can reject is an idea that they have of you, okay? But guys are like, oh, I fucking heard, I get rejected, blah, blah, blah. But you look at it and you're like, hey, would you give a key to a safe in your house with your most valuable possessions to a stranger? So why would you give it to a person on the street? Who gives a fuck about their opinion? Women, for the most part, when you walk up to them and they say 5 minutes later, they don't even really remember. It happens to women all the time. Are you going to go for it? And yeah, you know what? You're going to go through a hell of a learning curve. But that's the difference. It's like on the plains of hesitation resides the countless millions who at the dawn of decision sat down and waiting fucking died. Is that going to be you or not? Are you going to give yourself an outcome? Like how many guys have a really outcome of why you're here, what you're going to do? Like what is your goal? So when you have achieved what it is that you want for yourself, really can look back and go, fuck yeah. And it doesn't have to be some giant thing like I gotta be Hugh Hefner and have a mansion. Hey, it could be as simple as, you know what? I wanna really get good at getting rejected. Simple as that. I tell people, go get it rejected 1,000 times. Because when you're done, you're gonna be the expert in it. You're gonna know what most people say, what people do. Every time you get rejected, it's like a 4-to-1 ratio. So you get rejected, big deal, okay? But you had to have courage to go up there, so you built on your courage. You have to have your resilience in order to bounce back from it. You got to learn about data. You got some information about what most women say to you specifically, like, oh, you're too old, you're too fat, you're too skinny, whatever it is. And then you just get to learn good old-fashioned chutzpah, going out there and doing it, and knowledge. So when you look at it, rejection is actually a building phase to move forward for yourself. It's not personal. You're doing yourself a favor from getting rejected because you're learning. If you're pouring gasoline on yourself and you have a lighter, you're thinking, if I light this, I'm going to get burned, you're going to get burned. Explain that. Like,
yeah, you say go out and get rejected, but if you go out, I've seen guys doing that, they say, tonight I'm going to go out to be rejected. I think that's kind of negative.
Not if you're building from it. It's like, hey, you know what, like I'm going to toughen up my face. If I go, after, 1,000 times or 1,000 straight days, that probably won't hurt. Okay, it's toughening up, it's building a callus. your body will adapt, your mind will adapt if you put yourself in that mode where you're going to get to the point where it's like, next, where it doesn't mean anything anymore. And that's the point where most guys are afraid to get to. It's simple. It's like I said, Benny, if I'm working out, I'm going to get calluses on my hands because it's going to protect. If I'm catching, I keep on getting hit there, pretty soon it's going to develop a callus. When you can get a callus, a little callus metaphorically around the feelings that you get when a woman had rejected you, imagine that. Just think about it. Like, think if you developed a callus around giving a shit about what women thought about you or anyone thought about you. What would that feel like?
It's liberating.
Okay? So start thinking about that. Every time you do that, it's developing a callus. What's the difference between the callus and the not callus? What's the difference? All it is an internal feeling. Once you get that internal feeling that clicks and you're like, no big deal, it doesn't affect me, it's not personal. It's not personal. Everyone has a different mode of being. Think about it like this. You're walking into a store. You walk into one of these Albertsons or something like this, a food store, and you're going down the aisle, and you're going in the cereal aisle, and you're like, I really want Captain Crunch. So you go there, you look at Captain Crunch, and Fruit Loops is sitting right next to it. You grab the Captain Crunch. Did you reject the Fruit Loops? Or was it just not your taste? Sometimes it's just not a person's taste, and that's okay. Why do you want to be with a person that's not really your taste? If you got rejected 1,000 times a month, okay, but out of that you found one fucking person you clicked with and you were cool with and you enjoyed life together and you laughed together, okay, and let's say you wanted a polyamorous relationship or polysexual relationship with a bunch of women. Well, 1,000 times if you find one cool person, did any of those people matter to get to that one? Not at all. Let's just imagine if there was gold 10 feet right, gold, a big fucking treasure chest 10 feet below me right now. Would you get out the axe and pick and fucking do your job to get to it even though you got blisters on your hands? Or would you be like, oh, it hurts? Would you keep digging? And if there was another one, another 10 feet below, it's worth it. When you start to live with complete freedom, with complete openness, with complete, hey, this is your world, you actually belong. And that's what it comes down to. You feel like you belong, that you're a part of this, and you have a right to be here and live the life that you want for your reasons. No one else's reasons, for your reasons, because you want to do what you want to do as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. Can you live that way? Can you be okay with walking up and saying, hey, you know, you're attractive. Would you ever like to go out and have the pay? No, no big deal. Okay, cool. That's probably another person I'd want to hang out with. But if you did that every month and you met 3 months from now, 3 women is more than any guy can really handle. I mean, if you're hanging out with them, I mean, that's realistic. It's simple. It's a mathematical game. How many people are on any of these dating apps? Anyone? Okay, like Tinder. Who's on Tinder? Okay, it was weird for me at first to go to Tinder because you see a hot girl and you're, yes, it's like, you know, like, do you deserve to go after that girl? It's a simple, it's a kind of a cool little thing if you don't even know where to start. You know, and my ratio is this, okay? For every 200 yeses or likes that I get one match, okay? Okay, so.
No, it's just me.
No, it's me too. All right, I get one match. Of the 5 matches, out of 5 matches, 1 goes physical. Okay, so those are ratios. Whereas, you know, I told this to my neighbor. It was a girl lived right across the street. She's like, oh, let me get on it. Okay, within the first five hours, she was at like 536 likes. Yeah. 4 days later, it was 3,500 likes. Okay, so it's a little different. Women can't understand, you know, this is a survival skill that you need to get. Okay, and if you don't get it now, it's only going to get worse. The reason I love what I do is because I like to empower men. It's not for picking up women. It's not for getting laid. It's for bringing someone that they care about into their life where they can live a life together with someone in harmony. Because if you don't have that, you know what? The future's not great for men. 4 to 1 men after the age of 50 commit suicide. Why? Because they don't have anyone in their life for the most part. They feel like their times are over and they feel useless. So if you can learn these skills and do whatever it takes and find someone that's compatible with you, but that's not going to happen unless you start to like yourself, you're not going to get it. So it's important. If people say, I'm embarrassed to go learn these skills, don't be. Okay? Women will never, ever understand what it's like because women are not in this situation. So be okay with it. And the reason why women will never understand this or will even be respected, okay, and I'm firm all about the liberal woman who wants to go out and do whatever she wants, but they'll never get to the same level of appreciation with it because it would be like going to a fish farm and saying, hey, I'm going fishing because guys throw themselves at them and they have a choice. I always said, getting laid for a man is a chore, getting laid for a woman is a choice. So it comes down to you have to actually be active. You actually have to want this. You actually have to go and do it. And it is a skill. Okay, you talk about your archetypes. You have your king, warrior, lover, magician. Okay, but they forgot the hunter. And the hunter is an extremely powerful archetype that needs to be there. Someone who's going to actually go out and go for what he wants because he wants it. You're a man. It's built into you. Okay, go for what you want. And realize that it's okay to study. It's okay to get better. It's okay to be in a situation that you can tell people that, hey, you know what, I'm going to get better at this. Because you need to. This is why guys that pull a lot of women in society, stuff like this, are revered. Because they're living the life that they want. And it's a good feeling when you can do that, for whatever reason. Whatever your philosophy, it's your philosophy. And as long as your philosophy works, like I said, without hurting anyone else, it's your philosophy. Bring it. Because that's what's different in the world. You want stuff that's different. Like, you want to live on a planet where everyone's the same? No. So you don't offer anyone anything if you're not your unique self, your original self, the originality of who you are. Bringing that to the table, realizing that there's no one going to be, like I said, a better you than you. No one's going to respect you if you're not. Because you know what? You're fake. You're trying to be like other people. You're trying to conform to other people. It's completely fake. What's more valuable? Or what's more heartfelt? A fake rose that's perfect, or a real rose? What's better? A perfect zirconia cut diamond or a real diamond? Okay, what do people value? When a stamp, if you look at a stamp, the stamp that's pressed all the same, or what's valuable? The stamp that somehow got a misprint and the plane's flying upside down. That's what's valuable. So stop being like everyone else. Stop trying to conform. Be your unique self. Give yourself the okay to be freaky, crazy, weird, geeky, whatever you want to be. Just be the best at it. Because it's the best that you're going to bring. No one's going to be a better geeky, freaky weirdo than you are. So own it. Be cool with it. No matter what anyone says. It's their opinion. It's their projection of what's not right or what they think it should be. You just go, thank you. That's a compliment. Carry on.
You're totally cool with going out with being rejected, but you say, hey, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go meet people just because I want to be social. I want to meet people. I want to meet.
I don't think that way. I don't go out like I want to meet people. In my mind, I go out because I want to have fun. Okay, so I keep a very open frame. Like, I'm going to have fun. Like, I can go and I can make a party laugh. Like, I want to have fun. To me, it's never been about, maybe when I was in my earlier phase about getting laid, but to me, it's about, like, what experience can I bring to the table? Like, if you look around at a bar and the people are just, like this, can I change that? Do I have the personal power to go in there? And it's something I learned working the strip clubs for 22 years. How did I learn that? Okay, if I'm looking around and I'm thinking, okay, if I let things go the way they are, they can go the way they are, and life is going to go a certain direction. Okay, but you have the own personal power to step in and say, boom, change that. So what would I do? I'd look around and I'd be like, you know what, like the energy's kind of low in the club right now. So I'd say, okay, DJ, I'm like, do a showcase. So what would happen? All the girls, they fucking hate it and they always bitch about it, but they all have to get up and they all walk on stage. Okay, here's Jamie, here's Mix, and there's nothing. They'd walk across the stage and go down right then and there. We do, $10 dances right from there. So I could have just said, that's fucking club's kind of name. But what I would do is I'd step in and say, okay, well, right now we're going to do two for one dance, and then here's all the girls, get everyone up and doing it. Or I'll do, okay, this is dollar dance for 10 to 15 seconds. A girl will come by and do a dance for the guys and move on. So I'm changing the scenario. Guys are coming out, they're getting lap dances. All of a sudden, maybe first they were like this. Now they got a woman on them. They're like, oh, that feels good. They're into their wallet. They're taking money out. So you create that. And if you can't do that, if you can't go into and change a situation and be a catalyst, a powerful catalyst in any situation, you're just going to kind of meander through. Like a powerful leader has to do that.
So with that frame in mind, you say, hey, I'm going to some party my friends throwing, and I want to go there and have fun and bring fun. I'm a fun guy. I want to bring some fun. And you're going about and you're talking to people, and say you've got this new hobby. Maybe you're into juggling. You say, fuck man, I just love juggling. You're telling people about juggling. And everyone you talk to goes like, juggling, oh my god, that's the lamest shit ever. And you just keep being, rejecting after rejection. And it seems as though what you're talking about, which matters to you, seems to be just no one else cares about it. How would you go about how would you handle that? Would you be like, what, fuck it, I'm so keen on juggling. I'm just going to keep on loving this. Or would you say, well, maybe I'm just going to not talk about the juggling. It's still really cool and powerful to me, but I don't need to talk to other people about it. How would you handle that?
Like, I don't want those type of people. I'm very picky with who I have in my life. Okay, and I got to that point because it's like, I could have anyone in my life if I want. I want people that are cool, and I don't care. Like, I'm not caught up on them trying to be cool. I just want to enjoy my life the way I want to. And if I'm talking about something and no one's digging it, cool, then I don't need that person as my friend. Well, why am I trying to validate myself to them? And I also think about, like, this is the way I kind of think about things. Think of the people that are in your life, okay, that if you died, would go to your funeral. And those are the people that you should spend your time with. Those are the people that really count. Okay, all these other things, it's just like it's a dog and pony show, when you're going out. You never really know. And like I said, it's like cold calling. You're going out there, you have all kinds of people from all kinds of different things. So if you're talking about something and they're not digging it, you just go make a mental check in your head. Okay, cool. You can change the subject if you want. You can proceed. You can ask questions. There's lots of things you do. But to me, I want someone that's going to be passionate about the stuff that's in my life personally. Why? Because I revere my own time. I revere my own space. I revere my own time on this planet. I respect that about myself. And that's what I want. I want the best for myself. And why shouldn't you want the best for yourself? Because if you don't want the best for yourself, nobody else is going to come around and be the white knight and go, here, I want to give you the best for you. It doesn't happen that way. This is the bar to take it into responsibility. And we break down the responsibility. It's what's your ability to respond. Respond to the world around you. and be okay with it. Like I said, you know, the uniqueness, all the people that are unique in the world, that are powerful, that have been paradigm breakers, they all had their weird shit. Albert Einstein, you know, he was kind of weird in his own way. Charlie Chaplin was weird in his own way. Nikola Tesla was weird in his own way. All these people were weird in their own way. And like I said, when you just say, fuck, who cares what anyone else thinks? I'm going to be happy being me. Whether it's sitting there and stuffing animals, you know, whatever it is, a taxidermy. Just be a good one. Be the best at what you do. Enjoy it. Have passion in it. Because when you have passion in something, women see that, there's some kind of vibe that goes from it. You can transfer, cross-contextualize passion to other areas. When a woman sees that you have passion and you spend your time doing stuff and you love stuff and it enthralls you and it absolutely captivates you and everything, like that's attractive because you have passion. And it's come back, I was talking to you, like feeling good. Like people want to be around. People, most people feel average to shitty. Okay, you always look around, they're yawning, they're going through life, they're dragging, like I said. So when you bring that to the life, you're bringing them something. You are the gift. People want to be around that. They're like, you know what, I want to feel inspired. I want to wake up and I want to feel good. And I want to have energy and I want to be motivated and I want to make a world a better place. Okay, who in their right mind would reject someone like that? And if they rejected them, cool. You're the gift. Okay, but you got to get to that level. Like I said, in that level comes with the responsibility of saying, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I'm about. You know, and really understand, what are you about? Who are you? Not what, but who. Who. That's the powerful place to be. Like, how many people know who they are? What you're about? Absolutely. What are you about?
I like blacksmithing.
You're good at it, right?
I'm not like the master, but yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Do you enjoy it?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
Does not having a woman in your life or having a woman in your life take away from that at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. What do you enjoy?
I enjoy acting, artistic stuff, painting.
Okay.
But they don't make money.
Listen, it doesn't need to make money, okay? My shit doesn't make money. I garden. I have 6 gardens in my yard. I'm out there fucking gardening. I roll boulders down the hill for my wife and shit like this because that's what she wants. But I like it. Okay, out there in my flip-flops doing it, you know, getting everyone yelling at me. Okay, it's fun. Okay, like my yard. Look at my front yard. Okay, I'm just saying, like, be original. Okay, I have totem poles in my front yard. Okay, like I live like above kind of a ghetto. It's a normal area, and there's totem poles. Okay, one looks like a dick. You know, one's got all this. Everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? Okay, but now people are going by because it was like started with one. I might have a mailbox, which is a complete tiki with the mailbox in its mouth, and it's unique. And you know, at first everyone was like, oh, it's kind of weird. Okay, but I kept on going a little bit here, and I started adding rocks here and do a little gardening here and stuff like this. And now people are going by, and I'll be sitting behind there, and I'll hear these girls came by, and they're like, oh, that's like the perfect house. Like, I want my house to be like that because it's unique. At first, anything you do, people are gonna go, oh, fucking, what are you doing? Okay, but after you start to get good at it, you start to feel it, you start to enjoy it, you start to move that through your body and who you are and your spirit, it's a good feeling. And then you don't focus on other people anymore because you feel so good about yourself. That's the basis of what this is all about, feeling good about yourself, super good about yourself. And if you don't feel good about yourself, listen, you know, like exercising, 30 minutes a day. Like I have all kinds of ways I've tricked myself into working out, all kinds. Okay, I like play Call of Duty. Okay, so if you ever played Call of Duty, multi-character, online, each game's 10 minutes, do a free thing. I have a recumbent bike and I can sit there and I can play. Okay, and it goes by like this. 40 minutes goes by like this, and I got my exercise in. Now I will watch seminars when I'm exercising. I figure I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna do active learning. So when I go to the gym, I'll put a health seminar. It'll be a talk, it'll be 45 minutes. And so I feel cool, I got my learning in, I got my exercise in. Okay, and when I was doing it on the Xbox, I didn't feel like a loser. I'm like, well, 'cause at least I'm exercising. Okay, so you're moving. The body's meant to move. It's like the river of life that flows through you. Your body has to move in order to be healthy. It's got to. Like stagnant pools breed disease, okay, stagnant blood breeds disease. And you can't be effective, and you can't be smart, and you can't be quick, and you can't be feeling good, and you can't have endurance in the bedroom if you're sitting down not exercising. So we're going to kind of come full circle a little bit and realize it really only takes 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day. That's a prerequisite, especially with that. You have 4 ways that you get rid of toxins in your body: urination, defecation, respiration, perspiration.
Well, what's defecation?
You want me to show you? Want me to show you?
No. Oh, yeah.
Language barrier.
I will translate.
So those are the ways. So like I said, if your body's not moving forward and you're not getting rid of the toxins, everyone needs to exercise right now. I'm going to come back and say it again because we live in a completely fucking toxic world. 100% toxic world. How many people never worked out and then started to work out? Now, how many people worked out or never worked out, then worked out and then stopped working out? Okay. How many people felt like hell when they stopped working out? how good do you feel? The first couple weeks sucks, right? No matter what. So if you're getting to a trainer and he's trying to make you sore and shit like this, even if you go to the gym, like that's breaking a habit. It's starting to put the myelin, which is the neural synapses moving in a certain direction. Even if you just say, you know what, I'm gonna get up, get in my car, and drive to the gym and sit in the parking lot. You're starting that direction. It's called the micro baby steps. If you go in and you do one set and you leave, you're starting that process. All you want to do is train your body, saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to go in this direction. You can do it very, very pleasurably. Put some good music on, go in there and say, I'm going to do 1 curls. I'm going to go to the next day, I'm going to do some triceps. I'm going to go walk 5 minutes on the treadmill and then go home. The next day, you're like, I can do that again. That's simple. And what happens is your body starts to adapt to it. And all of a sudden, you start feeling really good because you're getting oxygen through your body. You're starting to get all this energy flowing. And then you can't not go back. I mean, if you stop, you regress, and then starting again, it's like doubly hard. You're like, fuck, I should never stopped in the first place. But you can't imagine the difference in your energy, your productivity. If you really want to get productive, start working out, start eating good, and you're going to rock and roll. That answer your question? Like I said, I'm kind of ADD on this shit.
Regarding that, see, every year I see at the fitness center, a lot of people would come in January and they exercise a lot. It's full of people. And then because of the New Year's Eve resolutions, and then they disappear after a while.
Fuck them. Okay? Then I don't have to wait for my fucking machine. You know? I mean, that's how I think about it. You know, here it comes down to it. It's your level of commitment of what you're going to do for yourself. You know, like everyone starts and stops, and I'm okay with, you know, I've fucked up so many times in my life, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, up and down, sideways. It really comes down to like, hey man, like, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and go, are you going to do what it takes? Like I said, the exercise, the eating, are you going to make you the best you? I don't know if you've ever seen, like, have you ever had a remote control car and you have like a shitty ass battery in there, and you try doing it, it's like, and you're like, this isn't fun. And then you put like in charge of the battery, it's like, wah, 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 wah. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, you get more of a thrill when you feel good. If you haven't experienced that, give yourself, you know, 2 weeks and just give it a shot, because I guarantee you're going to feel so much better. Whether you like it or not, okay, I've been 280 pounds. I've gone up, down. I've experimented with everything. When that moment comes in the bedroom and you're like, okay, I'm going to take the shirt off. When I was heavy, I was like, okay, like there's not that comes. But when you feel like you're feeling good and you're looking good, you're like, check it out. You know, it comes off. So all that confidence goes into it, and it's just a good feeling when you wake up and you know it. Is there anyone in here that works out and after eating good ever goes, fuck, I wish I wouldn't have? People always complain about the things they don't do. When you go to the gym, have you ever complained that you were sad that you went to the gym? You always feel better leaving the gym, and that comes down to that. So, and also I'm going to kind of segue a little bit into lifestyle. Okay, what is your lifestyle? You know, I live a very polyamorous relationship. You know, I'm married. I have multiple relationships with people that I also see that are close to me. I know a lot of you guys, some of you guys mentioned some of that stuff. So if you have any questions on that, I got a lot of experience in that.
Yeah, my girlfriend and I are in an open relationship. We have been for 3 years, but she struggles with that going on long term.
They do?
Yeah, so anything you can give me. One of the things...
Did you have kids together?
No.
Okay,
not
I'll tell you right now, I've been down that way. I guarantee probably part of it comes with what she's planning in the future about having kids, and how's that lifestyle going to affect you in that environment with kids.
She wants the kids with me, yeah.
Okay, well, that's what I said.
So I want me to knock her up before I came here, for example.
Well, like I said, you better have your philosophy down, because
yeah,
you know,
that's like,
when they sometimes have a tendency to be like, well, now that we have a kid, you should have changed. Okay. And like, you really have your philosophy down, your metaphors in place. If you want multiple relationships and live a polyamorous relationship lifestyle, that's fine. But you better have your philosophy down. If you're just like, I just want to have sex with 2 chicks, and they're like, okay, and there's nothing more to it. It's kind of, you're like, okay. The girls are like, okay, it's not that deep. When you have a philosophy about why you feel like this and who you are, like I have my metaphors down. One of them is like, no matter who you are, I need vitamin A and vitamin K. Like that's just my own personal. I like 2 women in my life that I'm cool with, and that's my own personal balance. So like, you could be the best vitamin K there is, okay, but I still need vitamin D over here. You know, so you got to have those down. And even your metaphors about how you interact. Like I want a person on my right protecting my right and my left, so I'm walking down. Pilot, co-pilot. You know, what are your metaphors to explain like what's natural to you? I think God is just hilarious and put it right in front of our face. You know, most men think of it. You know, what's yang? What's yang energy? Okay, the penis, hard, penetrating. Okay, soft and sensitive. You're nuts. Okay, I believe God, man is the penis, and he has 2 nuts. Those are the 2 women next to him. Okay, so to me, it's right there. Like, you know, you can put one nut, you can put them side by side, holding hands. Like me personally, if you have 1 nut, then maybe you're monogamous, but you know, I have 2. So, you know, think about that. It's in nature. It's right in front of your face. Learn it and get it down. And when it comes like to the wife, like you got to understand. Well, is it your wife?
No.
Okay. You got to understand like where's this going to get to, because if I'm shooting for frequency, and and this was a big thing with my wife too, because I have this pretty wild, crazy lifestyle. So I'm saying, okay, if my lifestyle, if my dream of what I see and what I can experience and what my vision is 1,200 hertz, and her, sitting down with a kid over here is 700 hertz, there's going to be some conflict, because that energy is going to pull yours down. And until you guys have the same vision of like sitting down and going, well, what's going to work for us? And think about the future and say, look, this is going to be who I am no matter what. So if it's not going to work out now, then we need to come to terms with it. And that's another thing. If you're looking for that kind of lifestyle, you better get used to getting the heart hurt. Okay? Because lots of women, it may be cool with it for a while, but women want what women want, and they have every right to, or they may want a little bit more. I've been in love with plenty of women, and that point comes where they're like, fuck, you know what, you're not going to give me what I want. And so when you are open with a woman and you feel that heart feeling, you actually enjoy being with them and stuff like that, and they go away and they hook up with someone else, you better feel the sting. So you got to be a pretty fucking strong dude to be able to keep your heart open and not become like some cold asshole and be able to deal with that. If you're going for that, you got to take the sting. If you can give the sting and be like, I want to be with 2 girls, you better be able to take the sting. There's no easy way out around it. I mean, that's the golden rule.
So are your girls allowed to sleep with other men?
They can if they want.
Yeah.
The funny thing is for the most part, they don't really want to. When you give them what they want and they're cool with you and they understand that, they sometimes don't really want to. They're like, no, you know what? If you satisfy them on that level, for the most part, then they're pretty adaptable. Now, I'm not saying it's always. It's happened a few times, but I don't sit there. I don't ask questions. I don't go, well, how big was his dick? Did you put it in your mouth? Did you do that? No, I don't. I just want to know, yes or no. Okay, cool. Next, I'm not threatened by it. I just want to know. It's my own personal thing. So they can do what they want. And when a girl can have that non-judging idea, they'll respect it more, because you're like, look, I'm not going to judge you. You can do whatever you want, be who you want to be, and live in that lifestyle. And it's a good thing. It's actually more close because you have that trust. They're like, if we can get through this, then we're solid. What else is there? Maybe financial shit, but that's about the only other thing that can really fuck up a couple, if they're open and they're honest and they're playful and they realize that not because you're better than this person, it's just this is vitamin A, this is vitamin D. Does that help at all?
It does, yeah.
Communication's huge. It's not always the easiest one, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Have you ever worked with clients that were in monogamy? And they were like, I don't know if this is really working, but this other lifestyle is pretty alluring to me. They gave it a shot, gave it a sufficient amount of time, and then went, you know what? No. And then they went back to it. And do you have any experience with that?
Yeah, lots of it. I mean, it's just good.
Okay. Well, I mean, in your experience, were they happier people because they've experienced that, and then they went back and realized, you know what, that lifestyle really wasn't for me. I'm happy I did it, but at the same time, I'm now seeing a lot of value instead of going back to it and knowing that I'm just trying to avoid all that sting and that heartache.
Yeah, to me, I would rather be informed than not informed. When I can talk about drugs and stuff like this, like I've lost $5,000 worth of GHB. I've done over 200 trips of DMT. Okay, I've fucking probably done 500 ecstasy things. Okay, I have that experience, and so when anyone talks to me about it, I have real life experience. So I can go, no, you know what? That's my view on drugs. It's like a peekaboo card. It's going to give you a little peekaboo into another alternative state where you get an idea about, oh, this is what that reality could be like. Okay, it's not, the card will never get you there. It's just like a peek. So if you go over there and you explore that out, and you're like, hey, this is pretty cool. This is not cool. It's not for you. Then you have at least that self-satisfactory that you went through and did it, compared to, I would rather know that something's not me than wonder about it. Like I said, I've been through all the dark corners and stuff like this, and I know, hey, I know who I am completely, all the ground up. There's nothing anyone can do to throw me off. Okay, so when you have that and you're like, no, you know what, I like this, then you can concentrate more on that and go, cool, now how can I make that even better? Because that question isn't going off in the back of your mind going, oh, I wonder what it would be like, I wonder what it would be like, I wish, and that does nothing except for just use energy. So once that's satisfied, then good, man. Then you can put the pedal to the metal and create like a fantastic monogamous relationship. And like I said, some people are for that, some people aren't. When you can create it and really bring to life what you can do, that's awesome.
What's next for you? You've done so much.
My goal this year, for what I've accomplished, is I've done everything except for my own financial goals, because my belief was like, I want to go through. I've lived on the street. I've done everything that I want to be completely happy going through everything without that. And then it's funny, because then when you get to that point when you're like completely happy with everything like that, then you're like, well, shit, the only thing I haven't done is money. And so that comes back to, okay, like my goal is to hit 1 million. And going, okay, cool, now it's about creation. Like, now can I create that lifestyle in such a way that's going to bring me pleasure, it's going to allow me to help more people and things like that. So my 3 goals for really this year is to get on some major talk show hosts. I've always, like, in this whole industry, at first, we came out and all of a sudden the game came out and boom, it was big and everyone wanted to be the big pickup artist and guru and shit like this. And everyone was stealing a lot of our shit at the time when we were putting stuff out there. So I just stopped putting stuff out. Just let it work itself out, let all the seagulls fight each other for the little crumbs. And then all of a sudden, the creativity went away because it was all rehashed information. All of a sudden, all these people that were the next big guru and pickup artist of the year and all this shit, they all started to fade off. And so I just kind of waited with my stuff. And this year, I'm going to release all my sex stuff, all my other stuff that I've been holding on to purposely. Goal is to get to like the best shape ever in my life at 43. Those are my next steps as far as that goes. It's my goal. And I'm already moving on the direction. I hired a professional marketer that started on the 1st of January. I'm not going to eat anything that's not live food. Not going to do any fucking drugs or anything like this. It's just going to be like, what can your body do? Because I'm pretty amazed at what the body can do with all the crap and processed food we put in it that's not healthy. Like, what if we went back from day one and regenerated ourselves with what we're supposed to do? Like, I made this really cool chart. It's a body, and it's got 120 squares in it. And every day I eat healthy, I color one of them green. And that represents the blood cycle. It's 120 days and your blood cycle is new. And that's where you pull to rebuild all your strength and all your vital functioning and stuff like this. So my goal is, okay, cool, like if I can redo this, like imagine like if we ate clean from the beginning, who knows what visualizations we can have. It's kind of like talking about that little car that we did. Have you ever seen those bulbs that light up? You grab it and sometimes the bulb will go deep, deep, deep. It's like a certain level of energy. What if your vision, your purpose, okay, what we're talking about, your purpose, and I believe this absolutely 100%, that maybe you just haven't raised your energy to the point where you can even see your purpose because that visualization won't even be there. I believe it's already there etherically, okay? But if you don't have the energy to even get glimpses of it, that's what the thing I liked about drugs is when I used it, is it gives you that look like you're like, boom, you see these realities. Okay, those realities exist. We live in multiple universes, so somewhere in the universes that are out there, that reality has to exist. It can't not exist, okay, with all the complete possibilities that are out there. So if you're not even getting those visions because your brain, which takes a hell of a lot of energy to use, it's like most of the energy that you go is your brain processing it. Like if it doesn't have the right feel and it's not getting that, what if you never see those visions, okay, or you get those insights to what it is you love doing because you don't even have the energy to kind of make it through the day. So why would it do this? Because it's going to take a lot of work, it's going to take a lot of focus, a lot of dedication, and a lot of responsibility. So that's another thing. Like, give yourself that challenge. What can your brain go? Holy shit, like, wow, now I'm getting these visions. And it's only been 2 weeks that I've been on this, and I'm starting to see things that are really weird. Like, before, maybe I'd shortcut stuff. Okay, I now have an idea about shortcutting stuff is just your energy. You don't have enough energy, so your mind wants to do the shortest thing possible just to get the job done, mediocre. Now that I have all this extra energy, because my body's thriving on it and I feel good, I'm waking up early, I'm doing whatever I want, all of a sudden I'm doing shit like I'm doing dishes. Before I'd be like, okay, walk away. Now I'm like, okay, I have enough energy. So you have enough energy to go do those things, and all of a sudden, your brain all of a sudden kicks in because you're going to that higher frequency, and you're starting to see the visions, and you're like, oh yeah. It's like those light bulbs, ding, 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 ding. And so, things like that.
Is there have you ever had a chance to see the brain enhancing drugs or anything?
Have I ever used brain enhancing drugs?
Well, you have done drugs, but I'm assuming.
Yeah, I've never done like heroin or meth or any of those fucked up drugs. Okay, I call them medicinal. Okay, I call them medicinal. DMT, mushrooms, shrooms, marijuana. Well, I don't know about ecstasy, but at least, the reason I did ecstasy is because I used to I was never emotionally open. Touching stuff like this. I did experiments, if you read in my book, Metaphor, where, I lived in this artist colony, and we used to do cool stuff where, I'd take the ecstasy, and this was my first time I did a candy flip, ecstasy and LSD, and had like 5 people massaging you. Because before people get around me, I'd kind of feel a little tight, like a little, uncomfortable. So that's when people say, you feel comfortable in your own skin. Okay, it's because you're responding to the people around you, so your energy perks up, like this. So imagine having 5 people, and you're like, whew, all of a sudden you're feeling good, and you're feeling the energy, and you're like, people massaging, and you're like, whew, you can feel the fear going, whew, layers. So to me, I never did it just to have fun or do stuff. It was to always explore that area out. So, DMT is a huge one. I did, I was mixing, I can't do it anymore because I pissed off the DMT gods. I was mixing ketamine and DMT, and I did like 30 in a row, and it came and slapped me silly into the scariest reality I've ever been in, where it scared the shit out of me, okay? And so it was me taking advantage of a sacred drug. And so, and I even went back a month later to say, well, let's just see. And it was right there and slapped me again. And I was like, okay, I guess, sorry. So it's one of those things that I can't say that they're bad and I can't say that they're good. I'm neutral on the whole thing. Have I personally got a lot out of it? Yeah. Did that one situation, it actually fried a neurocircuit in my mind when I was doing a lot of neurofeedback called sigma 10 in my brain, which basically it disconnected me for 6 months for any feeling whatsoever when that happened. Cause I took the DMT, felt the kick on. I don't know if you've ever done DMT, probably not, but you know, it is a way of communicating. It's very subconscious, very psychic communication that's going on, and something was going, hey, something's fucking wrong, something's wrong. And I thought my hair was on fire because I was like, oh shit, because everything's changing, all the visuals are changing. So I thought, so I was calling out for my wife, like, hey, and I walked across the room, and all of a sudden I felt this in my head. It went, and all of a sudden all the visuals just died. And it was the scariest thing ever, like no life, no feeling, no connectivity towards anything, just void. Okay, walked outside, calling out, everything was smothered. There was walking down the street, and I was like, hey, and walked by, I was a fucking zombie. Didn't even look at me, just kept on walking. Gnarliest feeling ever. So I can't say that was good because I still energetically haven't completely recovered from that. You know, getting my feeling back of like, you know, wow. So good and bad, you know, just don't abuse like I did, I guess, and stuff like that. So.
How long ago was that?
About a year ago. Yeah. Like I said, it took a long time because it was fucking gnarly. My heart was going, my face was white. I thought I fucked up because everything was growling at me like, you fucked up, you just fucking ruined this whole fucking realm. And I went to lay down, I was like, I'm just gonna go to sleep and just hope that God wakes up. And I woke up, my eyes were there, and my wife was like, whoa, what the fuck? And I was just, oh. So, yeah, that one.
Did you go and like get a brain scan or something?
I did neurofeedback, and there was like a red thing right exactly where I felt it.
Yeah.
So, and I believe that, you know, it'll regenerate, but obviously it's gonna take a while. But that's, you know, I knew the job was dangerous when I took it.
You've had both positive and negative experiences with them.
Positive, yeah.
Have you ever done ayahuasca?
I haven't done ayahuasca yet. Yeah, you know, that's kind of like, it's kind of the same thing. I'm kind of gearing up towards ibogaine, which is pretty gnarly for me too. It's a 3-day trip. Okay, so it's what heroin users are using to get off heroin. It's like 80% effective, but it's 3 fucking day trip where you just lay there. It's pretty gnarly. Like even I'm a little like, eh.
They're using ayahuasca to treat with heroin and meth addictions and stuff as well, and it's like 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense as well.
Any of it's can be intense, you know. I mean, it's all intense. It really depends. I mean, as long as you go into any of those with a mindset, like, you know, it's ritualistic.
Yeah.
You know, so like you go say, hey, what is it you want to learn? What is it you want to come to an understanding with, and go there, and yeah, have at it. So, any other questions?
How do you motivate yourself to do things when you don't really want to do anything?
That's like the big line between boyhood and manhood. It's called responsibility knowing. Like there's things like today, I didn't really want to go to the gym, but you know, I was like, you know what, you got to go to the gym. Sometimes I trick myself, like before, like sometimes I'll drink a fucking energy drink because I'm like, well, if I don't go work out, I'm gonna be like all fucking jittery and shit all day. So, I mean, like I said, I've got plenty of tricks if you're talking about like working out and other things. Like I'll watch YouTube, and these are all tricks that I've done to get myself. I'll watch one YouTube video, you know, fail of the week. I'll watch it, and then right after that, I'll go do a set of pull-ups. Then I'll go back and watch another one, so I don't get sucked into. I'm going from, you know, ADD from one to another to another. Like I'll put a break in there. If you watched one video and you did a set of curls, you know, 4 videos, you fucking just did a workout. You're good. So I think about being creative. Think about like, how can I creatively trick myself? You know, cleaning. I have a timer. You know, I do it all the time. Like I'll be like 2 minutes. I can do 2 minutes. You know, I turn it on for 2 minutes and then clean, and next thing you know, 2 minutes is usually all it took. So how can you creatively think about something like, well, give me an example.
Get up, answer emails.
Okay. Well, I liked what Anthony Robbins said one time. He goes, you know what, how can I make this the most enjoyable thing he did? And he said, you know how he did that? To make phone calls, he sat in a jacuzzi. He sat in a jacuzzi and he just kind of tricked back and made those phone calls that he wanted. It could be like, okay, in between, same thing like this. Watch a YouTube video, answer 1 email. Watch a YouTube video, answer email. Something like this. Get creative with it. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set this for 15 minutes. How many emails can I get out at one time? There's always a way. See, the limitation isn't in the actual process. The limitation is how you're approaching the process. And once you like overcome that and transcend that, then you're like, okay, cool. Like I can do it any way possible. I can do anything I want, any way possible. So how can I do it? And do it. Like, so that's the big thing. And the more you got to think about this too. You have myelin, which is firing, you know, the neurosynapses and the neural networks in your brain. Every time you do something, there's like a, and at first, like let's just say you're over in California and New York. With first doing something, it's like going 5 miles an hour. It takes a while to kind of get there, and there's a lot of resistance. But the more you do it, it starts getting a little faster, and it starts getting faster, and pretty soon it's like boom. When it's at that point, you got to understand that you're always reinforcing that behavior, one way or the other. So you're either going to fuck yourself later because it's going to get harder, Okay, or you just do it now and you start to build that neural pathway in time. And you just figure the better you get, the stronger you get. And why would you even not want to do it? Because anyone in your life is going to pick up on those unconscious behaviors. I don't want to poison the people around me with lame ass stuff and be like, oh, I want to do that because you know what, I'm poisoning them. Like I don't want that unconsciously being seeped in their head. So I take responsibility not only for me, but for the people around me. And say, you know what, when you're done, you're going to feel better about it no matter what. And you know you strengthen yourself, you became stronger, you become better, and that's what's attractive with people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's either up or down, man. Up or down. There's a big down. There's a big down. And I was gonna say, either put time into doing things you want now, like it's like working out or being healthy, because if you don't, you're gonna put time into being sick, being in the hospital, doing shit like that, where it's gonna break people. So feel good, look good, you deserve it.
You spoke earlier on expanding your aura as well as raising your frequency, because I've had that similar experience and it was wonderful, but I also found that I was kind of wafy and spineless and starry-eyed and very impressionable. How do you raise your frequency, expand your aura, and be more successful and also more grounded and more rooted in your life at the same time?
Okay, well, I have a couple different processes I use. One is like I want to create an aura around me. So if you take fucking 5 minutes and you set your intention through the day. Most people don't even set their intention. So I'll just go, okay, what is it the day I want to be like? And I breathe in extra. So I wait till I breath. I mean, breath is huge. It's the #1 nutrient that we take in. Without it, we're dead in a couple minutes. So I'll breathe it in. I'll say, like, what do I want to feel? If I want to feel like I'm going out and I want to feel confident, I breathe it in. I breathe it until I feel confident. And then I overflow it. And then I imagine there's the auric field around me, and I overflow it to that. So if I get hits, they're kind of like a force field. So I walk in, I get rejected, boom. They took a little, my force field went to, 100% capacity to 75% capacity. You get another one, it's 65% capacity. So I have that extra by doing that. But